Imagine that you're a biologist in the 1800s. Sea exploration is absolutely booming, and new parts of the world are being discovered every single day. With that comes new land, new resources, and of course, new animals. You start thinking of all the new possibilities for your research. Maybe you'll find an animal that no one's ever seen before. Maybe you will finally become the well-respected scientist you always wanted to be. Maybe hey, are you gonna eat that? No, of course not. This is the first animal of its kind, and I need to do a lot of research. It took me 5 months to find that thing. I'd give it a 4. Needs more salt. That's right, while everyone else wanted to study these animals from the outside, for the two people in this video, they cared more about what's on the inside. So without further ado, let's talk about the father and son who ate every animal on Earth. Now this all started off with a guy called William Buckland. He was a geology lecturer at Oxford University, and he didn't have a lot of money at the time. He knew that he had to get more students to take his class, but as it turns out, an entire course about rocks with funny shapes isn't the best at holding people's attention. So he decided to make his class a bit more interesting. He'd do stuff like wear a long black robe to every class, walk like a dinosaur, and have a real hyena head with him that he'd bring really close to students' faces. This actually made him a pretty popular teacher, and he slowly moved up the ranks at the university. He was also really good at studying dinosaurs, which got him a place at an animal research facility in the UK. So welcome to the facility. We've read your work on dinosaurs, and we thought it was so good that we've decided to give you full access to our animals. Any animal you want to study anywhere in the world, just tell us and we'll bring it straight to you. Can I eat them? I'm sorry, what? Can I consume your creatures? Well, is it for research purposes? Yeah, definitely research. Then yeah, I guess you can eat them. And so began William's one true life goal, to eat every single animal on Earth. In his house, he had loads of pets like snakes, frogs, tortoises and foxes, and he'd eaten all those animals already. He would regularly serve exotic dishes to people at his university or guests at home. Sounds really nice, except for the fact that the food was made out of hedgehogs, dolphins and puppies. Pro tip: if anyone invites you over for dinner and you show up and see their house filled to the brim with animal skeletons, they'll either eat your family pet or they've made extremely bad financial decisions. Either way, you should probably leave. His favorite food was mice on toast, and his least favorite were moles and houseflies. So, in case you were looking for recommendations, here you go. He also once visited a cathedral where the priest told him that the floor was always wet because of the blood of the people who sacrificed themselves that miraculously kept flowing. Nope, that's just bat piss. What? You know, bats. Little rat bastards with the wings they keep flapping around. It's their piss. Bat piss. How do you know? I mean, unless you've got another guy that's eaten an entire forest worth of animals, I think you can trust me on animal taste tests. So, this isn't the magic blood of sacrificed people? Nope. So, here's your daily cup of sacrificial blood. Yeah, about that. But by far the weirdest thing he ever did happened when he visited a friend of his who wanted to show him something cool that he found. Oh hey William, come here, I want to show you something. Look at this. It's the 140-year-old heart of King Louis XIV of France. It's extremely rare and very valuable. Oh wow, you know, I've never actually eaten the heart of a king before. Okay, no, I'm not gonna let you eat such a valuable piece of history. That heart is staying right there in this... William? Where'd the heart go? William? You ate the heart, didn't you? Yup, and it sure was a hearty meal. But our story doesn't end there. You see, William had a son called Francis Buckland. God knows how he managed to convince someone to sleep with him. And as you probably expected, he was even worse. I mean, he grew up in what was basically an unlicensed and underfunded zoo and had hundreds of dead animals watching him sleep, so I kinda expected him to be a little fucked in the head. And just like his father, it was his life goal to eat every animal in the world. When he was young, Francis would have loads of fun by riding on the backs of turtles in his father's house. Aw, that's so nice. He also had fun cutting off the heads of the turtles before they were cooked and keeping them as souvenirs. You know, nice wholesome activities for a 7-year-old. Now Francis had a head start on his father and started eating weird shit at a very young age. When he was 2 years old, he ate a whole candle, and as a punishment, William pushed his 2-year-old baby into a bush filled with spikes and thorns. You know, maybe he should have just stuck to animals. I don't think this whole being a good parent thing is really working out for him. Francis went to Oxford University too to become a surgeon, where he practiced surgery by cutting up small animals. But after the class was done, nobody really cared about what happened to the animals. I think you can guess what happened next. Francis also apparently missed living at home, so in his college room, he kept animals like eagles, frogs, snakes, and tortoises. Was this allowed? Probably not, but who was gonna punish the guy with pet snakes anyway? He also had a box under his bed which had a dead cat that he was dissecting. For research, of course. Now you might be thinking that someone like that wouldn't be the best at socializing, but Francis definitely knew how to entertain an audience. He had a bear cub as a pet, and he'd often bring it to parties where it would perform tricks and suck fingers? Yeah, 19th century parties were interesting, to say the least. Speaking of parties, Francis would often spice events up by releasing rats and snakes from his coat. Where did he get those? Were they poisonous? Was this even legal? Those are very good questions, but unfortunately, everyone was too busy with trying not to die. And if you ever got tired of having your fingers sucked on and wanted a little snack, Francis has got you covered. He would serve guests things like boiled elephant trunks, roasted giraffe necks, and rhinoceros pie. Yeah, I think I'll just stick to the snakes on the floor. But when he wasn't making his guests eat weird stuff, he was doing it himself. He was eating things like sea slugs, boa constrictors, and earwigs, which I had to search up what it was and I absolutely regretted. One day, he got news that a panther had died in a nearby zoo. Of course, the animal had already been buried in the ground, but even that wasn't enough to hide the animal from Francis. So he had the panther dug up so he could eat it, and he said it didn't taste very good. Yeah, no shit. I don't think bacteria and dirt-covered meat is the most flavorful combination out there. Now Francis was eating most of these animals for himself, but he also had other plans. He founded the Acclimation Society of Britain, whose goal was to eat exotic animals to find new stuff that everyone in Britain could eat. This never succeeded in doing anything, probably because Francis's idea of a good meal and everyone else's idea of one are two very different things. Francis kept pursuing this goal until he died in 1880, when he was just 54 years old. Now, did William and Francis manage to eat every animal on Earth? Probably not. Did they manage to get new food sources for Britain? Definitely not. But at least they worked hard towards their goal and they never gave up. They did ruin a few ecosystems here and there and might have freaked a few people out, but at least they had fun while doing it. And that's all that matters. So yeah, that was the story of William and Francis Buckland and their extremely eccentric eating habits. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe, hit the bell, leave a comment, and check out some other videos by clicking right here. I'll see you guys later.